Yeah, and I think this is one of those things that we were talking about earlier, because we were all chatting about Drew Lock, and I had a legit question of like, so the Broncos are obviously in on quarterbacks. Where's the cutoff? Like, we obviously want to get a quarterback that is an upgrade over Drew Lock, or there's no point. But where's that line of an upgrade? Like, is Darnold and Wentz an upgrade? Are they even? Are we only aiming for like a Stafford, a Watson, Dak Prescott, or like where's the cutoff of where we would stop trading?
Well, I think those three that you just named is about the cutoff, and that's it.
Okay, so like if we had a shot at Prescott, or if we could get Watson, or if we were able to get Stafford, those are the only three. Because we keep being tied to every single quarterback that becomes available. And obviously, I don't think we should go after everyone.
Right.
But with quarterbacks that have shown or have a history of being a successful quarterback, like Wentz is kind of hard to figure out. Because at one point, he was like an MVP candidate. Like, he can be a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. So would we go after him? Do we not go after him? Are we just aiming for quarterbacks that would fit Shermer's offense? Because obviously Shermer's not going anywhere. I mean, I think where's
and I think that's part of the problem. It's we're having to find a quarterback that's going to fit with Shermer, because obviously he's not a do-it-all kind of coach. So we're having to kind of feel around for what's going to work for him, and that sucks.
Yeah, I think Benjamin Albright kind of said it the best, and it would have to be an obvious upgrade at quarterback. I mean, you have Drew. I mean, say what you will about him, but I mean, he's really cheap. He's shown something and then also not shown something. So it's just like, what's the risk you're really willing to take to get another quarterback in there? It just depends on what you're willing to give up. I mean, and also if it's an obvious upgrade for it, because I mean, how bad would it be if you traded for a Sam Darnold and somehow you got rid of Locke too, and then Locke blew up somewhere else, right? There's not really a reason to give up something for a quarterback that you currently have that can somewhat run your offense, unless it's an obvious upgrade, like a Stafford, Watson, Prescott. I'm done talking about Wilson because it's not going to happen.
No.
And like that, I heard Roethlisberger recently, and I just like stop.
Yeah,
and I could see him leaving Pittsburgh, but if he leaves Pittsburgh, I think it's going to be because he retires, not because he goes somewhere else.
The Steelers would be in cap hell if that happened. So I don't think that would happen at all. I think they're going to. I don't know.
How does the cap work with Wentz leaving the Eagles? Like, do the Eagles still have to pay that? Do they still have that dead cap hit, or does that all go to the Colts?
No, I think it's like 34 to the Eagles this year and 24 to the Colts this year.
Yeah, I think it's split or something like that. It's a pretty big punch to both, but I think the Eagles carry the majority of it.
I mean, that's why it was a third and a two with a conditional. You know, it's like they got to. It's kind of like the Brock Osweiler a little bit, where you just take in some of that cap hit on one side to get a certain quarterback. But I mean, Broncos aren't going to do that. We don't have the room to be like, oh, hey, Ben Roethlisberger, what 1 year, 40 mil? Sure, we'll take 30 of that, no problem.
So what's great for the Eagles fans is the Nate Sudfeld era has begun. So that's exciting.
/ Jalen Hurts.
Well, let's say they got Jalen Hurts.
Oh, him too, yeah.
Sudfeld.
He's already Glenn knows the starter already, so it's done.
Oh man. Let's see here.
So the Indianapolis Star actually reported, I saw a short time ago that they reported that the Colts reached out to the Raiders about Derek Carr and were told that he is not available.
Well, I figure like they would. There's been lots of rumors that the Raiders will let Mariota go. You wouldn't think they'd let Carr go unless they had a guaranteed shot at a quarterback that was better than Carr. I mean, he did play well this last season. Mm-hmm. I don't think like Carr going to the Broncos would do any better.
No, I
So
disagree. I think Carr to the Broncos would be good.
You do?
But yeah,
Is that like a Shermer fit or is that a talent fit?
yeah, I think it's very much a Shermer fit, and I think that he'd be able to run that offense very well and very efficiently to like how Shermer kind of designs his offense with a lot of the quick reads, a lot of the know-how, and he's just mobile enough to be able to make things happen, But he hadn't been throwing deep until this last year when they had Henry Ruggs, but that didn't work out a whole bunch.
But do you think Carr is similar? Like when we look at Drew Lock and maybe his potential for later, do you think that Drew Lock kind of has the same potential as Carr, like
No,
later down the road?
I think it's all about the intangible, like the IQ. I think that Derek Carr processes a whole lot better than Drew Lock does, and whether that's I think it's a combination of young and just who he is. I think Derek Carr processes things a lot quicker than Drew Lock, and I think, and especially him being a veteran, but Drew has a bigger arm and I guess a little bit more mobility. I think Drew has a bigger upside potentially if he is in the same system for a while where he can really start to grow in a system. But whether or not we wait for that is to be seen,
Well, and that's another thing that we've been talking about is, with this season, this is going to be, if we don't break at least 500, we're looking at not having Shermer, not having Fangio. So it's looking like Drew Lock only has limited number of games. And then even if we went and got a free agent quarterback or a rookie quarterback to fit Shermer's offense, doesn't mean that Shermer's going to be here after next year. So then what? I think you're looking at, kind of like talking about Mac Jones. Mac Jones would be a fit in Shermer's offense, but outside of Shermer, I don't know if Mac Jones would be a very good quarterback to have.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if we were able to go after a Deshaun Watson, he's kind of one of those quarterbacks that could fit anywhere he goes and play well. But depending on the system, he could play better. You know what I mean?
I believe that Peyton is more of a Shermer guy than a Drew Lock guy. I mean, you have to remember where Peyton came from, and knowing Shermer and his confidence in Shermer when he came in as well too. So I mean, and all the reports of potentially trading Drew and getting another quarterback in here, I think he has more faith in Shermer than he does Lock, which is slightly worrying. But if we go under 500 this year, I think it might be maybe a clean wash. So.
Yeah. Do you think it's more faith, or do you think it's just familiarity? What would you say?
Familiarity, I think, a lot more. And I mean, when you come into a new organization and you have someone that you had already worked with that has the know-how of what to do, like Shermer isn't a slump. Like Shermer isn't a slump. Like he knows what he's doing. He's a good offensive coordinator. Now, does he adjust well to who he has? Not necessarily. You looked at Fangio and the way he runs his defense, he doesn't care. We had Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Did we blitz anything the first year we had Fangio? Not really. So and then he eventually started to adjust to what we had. But Shermer is kind of the same way. He doesn't really adjust much besides maybe not. I don't want to call it dumbing down the offense, but doing simple high-low reads and stuff with Drew Lock, where you're simplifying so he can process a little better to grow him into the system. But I think that Peyton is more comfortable with Shermer than he would be with a young QB that has turnover issues.